Y'all, I know that there's important votes that need to get done in Texas, but this situation is just too hilarious. A Fox News host talked to one of the reps recently, and her answers to his questions are absolutely hilarious, if I say so myself.
To the Texas redistricting battle. Democrats who've fled have until tomorrow to return to the state after leaving to prevent a vote on congressional redistricting. And now the feds are getting involved. Texas Senator John Cornyn saying in a statement today, quote, "I'm proud to announce that Director Kash Patel has approved my request for the FBI to assist state and local law enforcement in locating runaway Texas House Democrats." So let's talk to one of those Democrats who is not in the state of Texas, and that is State Representative Mihaela Plisa. Representative, thank you for being with us here today. I'd love to start here. You know the deadline. It's tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Will you return to Texas?
I will not return to Texas by tomorrow. This is much bigger than Texas. This is about the entire nation. And I'm so happy to be here with you tonight and to talk about what's going on in Texas and how it's going to affect all Americans.
It's about Democrats losing control.
Agree. This is not a local story. This is a national story. But I do have to ask you, you have essentially abdicated your job. You're running away from the state of Texas to deny a quorum to vote. Why not just stay there and vote no if you disagree with the redistricting? It seems by running away, you have run away from your job.
So I haven't run away from my job. I know that that's the narrative that's been put out there. I haven't abdicated my duties. I'm still very much present. I'm having meetings. I just had a meeting with the state employees union yesterday. My district is still out meeting with city council, attending events. So I've literally, it's been 4 days. It's not an abdication of the job. Who's abdicated their job?
Yes, it's so hilarious that you ran away from your duties. Yeah, you actually did. And you're avoiding voting on literally any of the stuff on the list when Greg Abbott could literally call another special session right after this one ends. So he could call another special session on August 20th, which he will do. And then what? Y'all are just going to leave again? Because if they keep on doing this, I have no doubt in my mind that the Supreme Court of Texas would actually rule in favor of removing the 13 people from their seats that Ken Paxton wants to go after. Because you can't just block the state from doing business indefinitely because you disagree with redistricting. And also there is a actual process that you go through. If you disagree with the redistricting and you think it's racially motivated, then you take them to court and fight it out there. You don't just leave the state and refuse to do your job. These people are hilarious because they twist this around in their minds so much to where they really believe that they're defending democracy when all they're really doing is running away from it and preventing it from happening.
Governor Abbott, who has put mid-decade redistricting ahead of the flood victims, that really should be our priority.
They're all on the same list.
I believe that's on your agenda as well, to update warning systems.
All of it.
Funding for the Texas flood victims, but that also is in.
Do you see what I'm talking about? The twisting of everything. Well, he scheduled a meeting for this first at 8 a.m. And then he scheduled a meeting for this at 12 p.m. So he is prioritizing, and I know that's not what she said, but I'm just imagining, like, this is the level of mental gymnastics that these people go through to try to make stupid people believe that they are doing something big for the people, by the people. But what they're really doing is they're just listening to a very small, minuscule part of Texans and ignoring everyone else who actually votes Republican every single time.
Capable of being voted upon because of your and many other Democrats' absence. So I don't understand how it's Governor Abbott's fault that that vote is not taking place when you're the one not in Texas.
Unfortunately, Republicans in the Texas House have shown that their priority has.
Unfortunately, even though it's physically my fault, it's because of the Republicans and Donald Trump.
Have been redistricting.
Stupid.
If you look, even today, they put redistricting hearings before flood victims on the agenda. Anybody can go to the Texas Senate website and look at the floor calendar there. And so when you look.
But all you're doing is prolonging the vote on that. You are making it so that you can't get to any of it. Do you not understand what you're saying right now, Michaela? Do you not understand what you're saying? This is so silly. These people are so silly. Who votes for these people?
You can see that there have been 9 hearings on redistricting and only 2 or 3 on flooding.
The order of business is the privilege of the majority. You brought up that you've only been gone for 4 days and you don't consider that an abdication of your job. Okay, when will you return? When will you take these votes?
I am willing to take votes when Republicans are showing that they're not doing the bidding of Donald Trump and that they're focused on Texans and Texas voters.
Then you're going to lose your seat.
Hundreds of thousands of people come out to testify against these maps. Thousands of emails sent to our offices that they are against these maps. Even in my...
That's what I'm talking about. They listen to the people that are vehemently against what the Republicans are doing, and they ignore everyone else in Texas who is totally for it. And then they go and blame this on Donald Trump. Yeah, Donald Trump does want you to redistrict the maps so that Republicans continue to win. Yeah, he does want those seats in the Senate. He wants the seats in Congress. Why wouldn't he? Y'all did the exact same thing. The exact same thing. And I'm sure Republicans had a hissy fit about it too, but I don't remember hearing about them leaving the state to avoid democracy. These people are insane.
District, I'm getting emails every day saying, please stand up to this. It's not just about these specific maps. We're seeing now that JD Vance is trying to do mid-decade redistricting. He's having meetings with other governors. This has turned into an arm race.
Why wouldn't
we really
he?
need to de-escalate. So I'm ready to get to work. I'm seen as...
Representative, this arms race was begun long ago from liberal-leaning and Democrat-majority states like California, where 40% of the vote went to Republicans, but only 17% of the seats coming from that state to the United States Congress are Republican. Or even worse, Massachusetts, where Republicans get 35% of the vote and have exactly 0 seats in the United States Congress. And to be honest, Representative, that's 2. I could rattle off a dozen of these states, all Democrat states with 0 Republican representation, where not everybody in
This is why if you ask people in these states, if you ask Republicans in these states why Republicans never win, they will tell you because the elections are rigged. And it's because of all of the gerrymandering that they've done to ensure that Republicans never win those states again. So why the fuck wouldn't a Republican want to fucking take these seats for the Republicans when they have the chance? Why would they not do that? If this was reversed, they would 100% be doing this.
that state votes that way, from Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, New Mexico, on and on and on, where the representation is not proportional.
I understand.
The question, Texas is not unique nationally. This is not unique what you are protesting right now. What is unique is your and your fellow Democrats' unwillingness to participate in the democratic process.
No, actually, I'm sorry, but you're incorrect. We are using the democratic process. Quorum break is actually a tool that the founding
Nobody voted for you to break quorum. Nobody voted for that. You are disrupting the democratic process. That is literally what you're doing.
fathers of the Texas Constitution put in so that the minority party, since we do not have a filibuster, we have the quorum break, and that's the tool that we're using. So It's totally legitimate. We're not criminals. We're not pedophiles, or we haven't done securities fraud. We are using a legislative tool, and that's it. We're literally citizen legislators.
Really quickly, I don't know of anybody that's accused you guys of pedophilia. I do think there is some question about whether or not your behavior is criminal. There is talk of arrest. Governor, you know that, Governor Greg Abbott. And by the way, we're honoring your request not to reveal where you are today. And there's a reason you don't want to reveal where you are, because you're concerned about that from Governor Abbott, and I guess the director of the FBI as well. So we're honoring that request from you, and we appreciate you being here on the show. But I do think what's important here is when you will return. You know, if your condition is, as you said a moment ago, once Republicans, in your words, don't do the bidding of Donald Trump, Well, that seems like it could potentially be unending. You simply disagree with them. You don't like what they're pushing for. And at some point, if that's your standard and you never come back, it's a real question of when you have abandoned your office.
Well, the governor calls 30-day special sessions. They're not infinite. So this special session will end on August 19th. Whether or not he chooses to call another special for 30 days to do what Donald Trump is asking him to do, or whether or not he puts on that agenda the STAR test.
And then her feed cut.
We've lost the representative. I had one more question, which was, let's talk about who's paying for this trip out of state. The planes, the stipends, the fines. Unfortunately, we did just lose that feed. I know everybody always wonders why and how that happens, and the answer is apparently we can put a man on the moon, but we can't sometimes maintain a consistent feed from a representative in another state than Texas. We do very much appreciate Representative Plisa appearing with us here today.
Also, their direct deposits have been shut down, so they have to come back to the state physically to receive their paychecks. They only get $600 a month anyway. I'm sure that they make money in other ways. They would have to. They wouldn't be able to survive on $600 a month. But I think that's quite hilarious. Now, when it comes to the FBI, I think they can locate them, but they can't necessarily go hunt them down and arrest them and bring them back to Texas. I don't think that's lawful. Maybe they can do some type of a loophole or something like that. But like I said earlier, Greg Abbott can literally open another special session, including all of these topics, on August the 20th. What they want to do is they want to make their side believe that the reason why nobody's voting on all of these other things is because of the Republicans keeping the redistricting on the agenda. And they want to blame it all on them. And what they don't want to acknowledge is that the Republicans would be wanting to do this regardless of who the president was. It could be Donald Trump. It could be JD Vance. It could be Vivek Ramaswamy. It could have been anyone. And they would still want to do this. And it's still constitutional for them to do this. So the Democrats just want you to believe that it's the Republicans holding the House hostage, when in fact it is the Democrats. And if they continue to do this, I have no doubt in my mind that they will push the Supreme Court to eliminate them from their seats. And I hope that happens sooner rather than later. So tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any more content. I'll see you on the next one.